Welcome everybody to the second part of episode 3, Signal or a Nightmare. What is it? In the last episode, Ganesh wanted to take a walk after he woke up midnight and found himself floating in the space. He observed his whole house was floating in space. So let's not waste any more time and read further. Episode 3, Part 2. I must be dreaming, Ganesh said to himself. This is a dream. I'm going to wake up any moment now, he kept on repeating. A nagging thought made him pensive. What if this was not a dream? What if he's out in the space, all alone? Don't be silly. I can't breathe in space. It is definitely a dream, he reassured himself. Then why am I not waking up or choking here in space? He tried to remember what happened after he left the restaurant. He could recall until the time he had called his home back in his native and gossiped about the restaurant he was working at. Yes, I was on call. What happened during the talk? I don't seem to remember. Did I sleep while talking? Ganesh frantically checked for his mobile everywhere. He looked around the house, but strangely, it was nowhere to be found. He tried to check what time it was, and oddly, he couldn't find the wall clock either. Now, this is strange. Where is my wall clock? Where is my mobile? How will I know what time it is? Ganesh sat thinking. The view outside the house was spectacular, making him forget his worries for an instant. He got lost in the beauty of the space. He watched his room floating amid the space. He saw the constellations, planets, nebulae, and many wonderful sights. This must be a dream because I can't find a clock or anything to read, and nothing makes sense. Ganesh spoke loudly. Now, why am I talking to myself? Maybe because there is no one around, he continued blabbering. With no way of knowing the time or finding anything to read, Ganesh could not help but feel sleepy. It was getting boring being alone and wandering in the cosmos. Without his knowledge, he fell asleep, sitting on the floor with the open door. I better be back on earth when I wake up, were his last thoughts. Abruptly, he heard a ringing sound and saw him hurling through the sky towards the earth. His body was rapidly falling and burning. His clothes caught fire, his skin burned, and he was shouting madly when he fell into a heap on the ground. A searing pain in his legs woke him. Ganesh opened his eyes to see he had fallen from his bed and was sweating profusely. He heard his alarm ringing and silenced it. He bruised his toe when he fell from the bed. A confused Ganesh tried to remember the events of last night and about the dream. It was both exciting, monotonous, and scary, all at the same time. Caressing his toe, he inspected for pain. He could feel none when he wiggled his toes. Thanking his stars, he got up from the bed. It was time to get up and get ready. Another busy day at the restaurant awaited him. It was then he remembered Tanya madam asking him to buy the spices. He smacked his head and wrote a reminder on his mobile to go and buy it this afternoon. He had observed that Tanya madam and Shamit sir took great care to have the groceries in excess. For a week, it was his or Rekha's duty to buy groceries. He began wondering why Tanya madam or Shamit sir never went out of the restaurant. That was episode 3, A Nightmare or a Signal. What is it? Before we talk about it, did you know that more than 90% of the time a person never sees his clock in the dream? The percentage of spotting a clock is as low as 0.74%. Also, you can't read in your dreams. Interesting, isn't it? Coming back to our story. What a strange dream. Do you think it does indicate something? Why do you think Ganesh reacted differently after touching Tanya, while Saraswati and Rekha experienced panic attacks? Wait for the next episode to know more about it. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Keep liking and sharing my content with everyone who loves to listen to stories. See you next week then.